Hey, look, Menulog.
You know what's really grinding my gears since moving to Australia is I can't find a good place to get fish and chips.
Oh, you're joking.
It's
Have you
honestly-
left Western
No,
Sydney?
you're
Have you
joking,
left Western
No,
Sydney?
bro.
no.
Did you know we have beaches?
No, bro. Tell me where I can go to get anywhere near the equivalent to what I find back home in New Zealand. It's disgusting. So look,
Did you ever
Still
figure
joking.
out, you know, where you went in New
No.
Zealand to find fish and chips? Bush and chups, whatever you call it
fish
there?
and chops, bro. Yeah, you see, you walk down to your local fish and chippy shop, and it just gives you a warm embrace, that childhood, that love when life was so much simpler. No bills, no headaches, no hassles, no dramas. You just live, love, laughing.
And you haven't done that in Sydney yet.
No, I've been locked indoors all day.
Anyway, look, I'm annoyed even.
I'm in jail.
I'm just annoyed with you, Skimmy. Rusty, can you please tell me about this first team? We're talking peace. And they've been doing all right, but look, up against Order today, what's going to be their recipe for success?
Yeah, listen, this is a huge game today for both teams in reality, right? And this is cool because if the question is, what is their recipe for success? We don't know what iteration we're going to get of both Peace and Order. We've seen a lot of testing, right? We've seen a lot of creativity coming out of them in draft and play style, but today's, in my opinion anyway, with 2 weeks left, the first real test on I want to see a playoffs ready Peace actually take it to Order. And if that were to happen, then I think having a counter pick for top if possible, and then playing through Cheon again is probably the way that Peace should play the game now.
All right, Skimmy, I've calmed down. It's your turn. You can talk again now. But you're going to talk about Order, okay? Now tell me
Yes.
how they're going to be able to take down Peace in this matchup.
Well, it's a good question because they've yet to really find that recipe for success against Peace so far. They've tried on multiple occasions. I feel like they've had difficulties trying to defuse Tien in the top side of the map, for instance. Yes, you have seen some very strong performances from the likes of Kevi and Puma individually, but ultimately it has been sort of the Cheon Tien show with them two just really excelling and offering a lot more to the table. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be a wild draft that is necessary for them to try and get that bragging rights, if you will, because they don't have head-to-head. This will be their third and final meeting. 2 defeats for them so far, but there is a chance. There is a chance, and I would love to see it come from Kisse and Kevin in particular.
And they can also play spoiler at the moment, because if Peace don't get this win, then there's no one catching up to Chiefs, and Peace won't be able to take that first position. So there is a moderate amount of importance in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's super important, right? Every win kind of matters from this point onwards, but even for the standings, it's huge. I believe Peace play against Chiefs very soon, so this is really that first step on the potential climb, at the very least. And just looking back to the last time these two teams played against each other, Mac, I feel like Order is one of the teams that manages to give us some of the better performances against the top teams, if that makes sense to you. They always seem to be able to rise to the occasion and give us a couple of real bangers.
Ooh, dirty.
I love bangers, and MASH, but
And
also banger games too, you know. And this game, if it's not one, I'm actually going to be disappointed, Skinny, because, you know, there's a few times where they've gone head-to-head, and I think one of the times it was really close, and then the other time it was just a whitewash, right?
Yeah, well, this would be the closer one of the two, because the very first time they went up against each other, it was Peace going 19-2. It was the time they played, you know, the very squishy Camille, Lee Sin, Akali game. We're thinking, how does this work? If Peace fall behind, they just lose, but then they didn't lose, and then we just look like idiots, right? So that second game that we saw there was a lot more competitive, but that disgusting wombo from Lisa with the rest of the team backing him up was kind of like the final nail in the coffin. So fingers crossed, yeah.
That's it, right? And look, I don't know about you, but I look like an idiot all the time. So I just own it like a badge. It's a good thing, you know. It's fine. If I think I'm an idiot, then when someone tells me I'm an idiot, I go, yeah, I know. And there's no argument. There's no hard feelings, right? Now, look, let's talk about Thin and Cheon. They've both been deathless in both games against Order so far. Are we going to see them do this again? Is it going to be the three-peat, Rusty?
The thing with Tien, first and foremost, is the way that he's played both of these games to be deathless is completely different, right? And he's matched up against Biopanther. First game, I think it was the Camille into the Scion blind pick or something of the likes, and he actually just wins mid through playing the game by pushing and leaving his lane. Second game, he's just winning top lane 1v1. You know, bring jungles, it doesn't matter. Tien is a beast when he gets his counter picks. So I like what we've seen from Tien so far, and how he matches against Biopanther is probably the place to watch for me, because we know bot's going to be explosive, Skimmy, with Cheon down there. But I think Tien is that real point that they might just have an advantage.
Look, Cheon, he's a beast, but I think, you know, one of the biggest beasts in the LCO, of course, is Puma. Unfortunately, we have another kind of cat to have a chat with him. It's Kitty. So let's bring her in, and then they can, you know, talk cat to cat. Maybe, I don't know, are you going to do weird meows and stuff, or are you going to, like, speak in English?
Well, I believe people need to subscribe to have me saying meow, but, you know, I'm sure that... what's his name? Puma is also a cat lover, so let's bring him in for the interview. I'm so sorry, Puma. But, so Puma, are you actually a cat lover and also sick background?
Thank you. No, I'm not a cat lover. I'm more of a dog lover, but cats are fine.
Well, something that's also fine is tonight's match. So you guys could potentially shake things up in the current standing. So who is Order looking out for on the Peace roster? And heading into tonight's match, why is that?
I'll say Peace is kind of like our kryptonite. Like, we haven't won, and I don't know. The games just feel like we are never in a winning position, but hopefully tonight it's different. But I think all 5 players are something to look for.
Well, something to look for is also you. You've actually received the most MVP so far in the split, currently sitting on 5, tying with Raze. So what do you actually think of the current bot lane meta, and what, due to the Jinx and Aphelios repetitively being picked, and how are you finding it so far?
The MVPs I don't like take to heart. Like, most of them are versing the bottom teams, so I still need to win, like, versus Peace and Chiefs. And I think the meta, it's a bit stale. Hopefully the playoffs patches changes it, but for now, I'm pretty comfortable with the Jinx Aphelios matchup.
Well, something I'm sure won't be stale is tonight's match. Well, Puma, I'm gonna let you go, and best of luck in your game.
Thank you.
Best of luck indeed. I think they might need a little bit of luck, but it also depends on how Peace are playing, right? Because we've seen Peace be, you know, very, very good and, like, perfect. We've seen a lot of their games look pretty damn perfect, and then we've seen a couple where it's like, what is actually happening in the Peace camp? And I don't know which one we're going to see, because over the last, like, 2 weeks, there's been a bit of shakiness in that roster. Now, look, we got to get to the game, so you guys get your Twitch points in for the Dare fan vote. Let us know who you think's going to win, and do my predictions for me. That's the main thing here, okay? You've got to. I think you've been pretty accurate today, so thank you for now. But are you going to get this one right? Because I feel like this is the hard one. So make sure you get your Twitch points in. Don't miss the Twitch predictions. Get them in right now. They're up there. And look, let's have a look at our predictions while we're talking about them. So, Kitty, what have you gone with here? You're the only one going for Peace. I think this is interesting.
Well, like Puma said, Peace is Order's kryptonite, so I'm not going to be surprised if Peace goes 3-0 against Order, because they have been showing up in their recent game, maybe not in between during the split, but Peace recently have been gaining back their shape, and I believe that they will take this win away from Order.
Okay, what about you, Rusty? Talk to me. Order, why?
I think that so far, like, I know that Peace have a lot of potential to still be one of the best teams in the league. We're still seeing some creativity and some learnings from them, so I'm not certain which Peace we'll get. What I do know is that Order have been shaping up pretty rapidly over the past couple of weeks, so I'm expecting peak Order, and I don't know what Peace we're getting, so I have more faith in Order.
And look, we've seen, you know, the couple of the champs that we looked at going into this patch earlier on today, in both games, a couple of them have managed to slide into the draft. So are we expecting that to be a similar thing here, or are we still thinking like Kevlin's going to slide through, or is that being picked enough that it's like Peace might not let it in? Anyway, that's a question you guys can answer right now, because Champ Select is ready. It's time for Game 3.
I do love a good rhetorical question that then...
Answer it, Skibby. Answer it.
Yeah, well, we're going to see, aren't we? We're going to see when the draft happens. And, okay, let's just quickly scout. Is there an Evelyn? Not just yet.
Dyna ban. Could be an Evelyn ban to follow. This is a pretty hard target towards Kevy, so it makes a lot of sense. The question past this is, do they go for the Hecarim third ban? Skimmy, given that they are on blue side, I would say that is the least likely. So Order are going to take that one away. I don't even know why I said that when I knew Order were going to do that. Let's get to the draft.
That's indeed getting to the draft. And I think it's an interesting consideration, right? Like, I've gone for order here. I definitely feel like, stylistically, Peace shape up pretty well into them, right? Carry side top, which looks to try and put Bio behind, allows them to go elsewhere with the rest of the team, link up with Appy and Lisa, which have a lot of momentum in tandem. But there is a part of me that believes that order can cause a stir, especially in a best-of-1 format. So I've gone for them. We'll see if they can find that slight abusable angle for them to try and get that win, as Peace will finalize their bans with a Zeri.
Caitlyn going to be the third ban to follow here as well. So Jinx Caitlyn, not Jinx Caitlyn, Jinx is still going to be available. Aphelios is still going to be available as well for order if they wanted to respond. Pretty standard for ADs. I don't think anyone's ever surprised at this point if you see both champions available. You have got the occasional curveball, the Zaya Rakan we saw earlier today, the Jhin compositions. Always going to be there. Center with a farming Tahm Kench, hell, why not, right? Like, these things still exist. But going past the meta to play these champions just has a degree of risk in it that feels unnecessary, especially for a side like Peace, right, that are constantly changing their top lane pick. I think in the last 10 games from Peace, it's been a different champion for TN, minimum, right, last 10 games. Is constantly changing it up. Where Order on the red side this game, I think Peace chose blue, just to be clear. Order having counter pick, I am very curious which lane this is going to.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, we did see Kevy cycle a lot of different champions there, some pockets, some very much meta, but ultimately settled with the Lee Sin. It seems to be at the very top of the table here. Tahm Kench, I wondered if it would be a pick that would be contested. Doesn't seem to be the most go-to for Corporal, but certainly beats whenever given an opportunity. Has locked it, has allowed him to play so very aggressively. And Appy, only one of two really standout players, considers that one, but opts to go for the Ahri instead.
Yeah, I mean, the hover of the LeBlanc is just funny to me, given that there is still Vex and Ahri, right, that exist in response. So they're not going to go the full Direwolves path of draft here. They are just going to pick the Ahri for themselves. That makes the most sense. But just remember that, of course, the response is still going to be very easily available from the side of Order. Usually into Ahri, I would say mobility isn't a bad thing. Vex is one of those nullifying picks that works really nicely with the Lee Sin, though. So strong 2v2. Can look towards jungle bans to try and remove some of the strength on Peace's side as well, because it's not going to be the Lee Sin Ahri.
It'll be the first game of Vex here for Kissa. He's actually got the joint most unique champions played, which is pretty exciting. 13 champions played across all 17 games. Certainly hasn't been afraid to show up what he can do. The Zen is removed, and same with the Ornn. I think no surprise really here from side of Peace, right? Limit by Panther trying to play like a heavy tank Titan, but I do ever wonder if he's going to look to try and trade blows with TN in a 1v1.
It'd be hard to do, right? To pick a champion and confidently want to trade blows with TN in a 1v1, full stop. The choice of the Ornn and the Scion bans are so curious to me, because I swear, you know, TN would be most comfortable with those two picks of the weak side options, right? Like,
sure.
Gragas Graves still very much on the board. Ooh. And we've got our first curveball of the draft so far. It's going to be a pike down into the Tahm Kench Jinx.
Yeah, we've only had one pike so far, and that was played by Dragku on the Chiefs. We've got ourselves a very aggressive bot lane now. And the question is that enough to give them the lead that they so desperately need to try and upset Chen and actually give him his first kill in their head-to-head?
We're just waiting to see what it's going to be from Peace here. Jungle is expected, but they have to reveal both roles. It's going to be blind top. I thought Camille could be a decent option, but they've banned Ornn and Scion, where I feel like Camille's pretty happy into those champions. So I am wondering where Peace goes here, and if it's just the Graves, right? Like, just something standard top lane, and he's confident the Biopanther cannot punish him. We will see. They've got good damage mix already, so I don't think they're hard-pressed to do anything crazy. So yeah, not surprised.
We have seen whispers of Nocturne being played elsewhere on this brand new patch of 12.5, so it's returning. It seems to be the case here. It's going to get locked in, and the Graves is there too, and Malphite comes out as the fifth and final. Too much AD, I'll just be a rock in the top.
There's only so many tanks that you can ban away from Biopanther. Where there's a will, there's a way. And Bio will get himself to Malphite. So quick check-in on the top side of the map for Peace, right? Being a Graves and a Nocturne, you can just go for a lot of early armor stacked and try and nullify the lane. It also means you'll scale into some nice strengths in early skirmishing. And given that the only magic damage threat on the team is the Ahri, if you're going into the backline as the Ahri is doing the same, you're unkillable, right? Like, Ahri is the one source of actual damage that will just rip you apart. So I like this from Order. Though I will say the Malphite isn't massively comboing with anything too much, but I think if a Vex is going with you, Pyke has the reset potential, so it could be a nasty team fight from Order.
Certainly could be. I do wonder if it's a little bit too much pressure on Takita here. We have seen him play a very volatile pacing of game. If he is going to be that sole source really of the AP damage, needs to pop off big time. I suppose really is the same case for Appy, no doubt, right, in terms of itemization, but regardless, the one major curveball on their side would have to be the fact that they've got Nocturne, whereas Order have Pyke. It's always nice, right, to sort of get that blend as we sort of transition into new patches of what worked before, but what is now potentially working going forward.
And it still comes back to the Pyke 4th pick for me, right? Like, is that something that works going forwards? We know that in theory, and we can talk about this in the game as well, Pyke does well into Tahm Kench just because it's someone that does execute lethal on health missing, and the shield doesn't matter, it goes through shields. And Tahm Kench is a giant shield-based champion. So there is something to that, but to actually see it picked with confidence to see it picked in a competitive game like this, and not save for a 5th pick. They knew they had the counter there and they just wanted it now. I mean, that's a big vote of confidence by Order. So my eyes are constantly going to be going towards the bottom lane and how they can make this play work. And then how the rest of the team gets to rally around it, because it really is Pumayushi against the world lately.
Certainly could be a statement for both AD carries, who can carry harder, who can be facilitated to deliver that ultimate win that both teams so desperately need. Peace needing a win to try and keep up pace here to claim first away from the side of Chiefs, whereas for Order, a win here would make their life that much easier to break in to the upper bracket. Let's check in then with the coach of Order, speaking of. It's Coach Series on the line, and I have to ask, you know, you've got teams around you, 1-to-1 head-to-head scores, so certainly a lot of pressure there to discuss, but it seems like Peace, out of all teams, have given you the most problems this split. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, frankly, we've had our own issues for sure, and they manifest themselves the most against Peace. Especially in our preparation, we've had some really lackluster prep against Peace. We had a lot of early success against them, especially in scrims, and I think we just underestimated them to some degree. Obviously, we're not doing that anymore. We're well prepped for today. I think we had a really good read on the draft and the game plan going in. So yeah, I think we're in a good spot here to finally make a showing against Peace.
Yeah, it'd be a good way to obviously close things out. You won't get the head-to-head into them, but certainly the win itself would be massive in the grand scheme of things. We're sort of talking about the brand new patch as a whole. We're seeing a lot of unique champions come out still with a splash of old. How have you been finding 12.5?
12.5 is, honestly, it's not that much of a change to the meta. I think the 12.5B patch, the playoffs patch, is going to be much more interesting than this current one. There are some new champions coming out. I'm not sure if that's because people are bored or they genuinely just like feel that they're good, or if people are just prepping for the playoffs. But for the most part, the meta is going to be quite stagnant until this next playoffs patch come in, and that'll be way more exciting, I think.
Sure will be, no doubt about it. Well, appreciate time as always, Series. Hopefully it's a game that delivers, and wish you boys the best of luck.
Thanks, mate.
I do wonder the same thing, Skibby. Are people bored? Like, is that why we're seeing these new things? Because it's certainly possible. It's been a few weeks of a very stale meta, right? With a lot of consistent things, which can be good for improving the fundamentals of League, but not everyone's going to enjoy it. There's Kevy having a hunt.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, we did see some very aggressive back and forth in the spot lane as the interview went on, but ultimately, Order going to get the better of it. And now, actually, topside, going to flash in here. A lot of flashes committed. Tien is going to be A-okay.
Yeah, the tragedy of this play top lane is that Kevy's leached a bit of experience there as well from BioPanther, who needs the levels. Definitely doesn't want to fall behind. Quick check-in with the wave state top, though. Did seem like it was fine. It means at least a level 3 to Kevy's 2 here, however, though. Gonna come and say hello. And miss the Q.
Can just turn around and steal some Krugs instead. There's one. On towards Kevy now. Spell shield goes up nice and early. The fear does connect, but Tien is doing his best to crash this wave before we really axe to back him up, but it's not really required.
Yeah, Bio's attempt to help with the Krugs, though, is a big miss from Order because now all the health's missing.
Yes. Both
So
are
risky.
very low now. It's very dangerous to commit at this stage.
Yeah, playing with fire. Both teams really actively playing with fire. Kevy, no choice after fighting at the Krugs, needs to stay, right? needs to help Biopanther, who helped him stay under the turret to make sure they catch the wave. Tien, super aggro, right? Just going constantly forwards there, looking to get some damage down to Hunt. And just to quickly give some context into why as well, it is the Comet start from Biopanther, so he's more about doing Q damage. More about doing damage with the timing on mana flow ban from the sorcery tree, however, because you don't want to run out of mana. And it does mean that you are a little bit more fragile, potentially. But overall, he's been doing perfectly fine. This means that, right, Corrupting Potion is going to be your starting item of choice, so you're missing out on, like, the shield health for getting through lane.
Yeah. Those rock wheels certainly will add up with the poke to try and keep Tien honest. Early stages, certainly minor issues could be a concern. It does feel like, though, all three lanes, even junglers, getting rowdy about it, certainly keen to try and test each other before there is any sort of map movements in terms of 2v2s or objectives to fight over. Really trying to fill each other out in these individuals.
Look at Lisa now, though, right? Like, it was a level advantage when he went to the Krug camp. They keep tabs on Kevy, know that he's going to reset towards bot side. Gets his blue Gromp at the same time, full clears his blue side jungle, goes to the Raptors and denies one prior to going to the Scuttlecrab as well. So they take everything that they possibly can away to kill, to still generate a further lead for the Nocturne. Wild Hop is pushing in, and it's just been damage control from Order, really, in retrospect here.
Was wondering for a second whether or not Kevin would have committed to that one, but Corporal was on a very early roam, level 4. Out of vision, Tien is so overextended right now. It doesn't even matter if he has vision, because he's got no flash, as you rightly point out. He has no mana either, Rusty. Now, ideally, Biopanther would love to pick up this kill, but at this stage, anybody is keen to get on that action. Kevy going to claim it. And it's a great way to give Tien his first death in this matchup.
Yeah, I think Bio would like the kill, but it's better that Kevy gets it, because he is the one that has fallen behind playing towards top lane as well, right? Like, sitting top side of the map, playing for a Malphite into a Graves just feels rough. Bot lane's been very isolated. Fortunately for the side of Order, that isolated 2v2 was massively favorable for them. And we didn't get a chance to talk too much about it, right? But the Ignite Pyke with Hail of Blades loves to start without a leash in lane. The fact that they're able to hit the level 1 hook is actually just winning for them, because they're able to get a big health trade out on the Tahm Kench. And it's a scaling pick as well, this Pyke, for the support matchup, for the support 1v1, because you not only get resets, extra gold for the rest of your team if the ult works, but it goes through the Tahm Kench shield, which is one of the reasons you could call it, I feel like, a soft counter. Like, it's not a hard counter, but it has a really nice interaction.
I was quite curious to sort of see what his gameplay on the Pyke looked like, considering how omnipresent he is as a Leona, roaming. Obviously, Pyke fits the same bill of wanting to be aggressive. Certainly first, a little bit of insight into it is first gank, first kill. So, love to see them continue at that sort of pace of zoning away Chen and Beats, but if it's not to be the case, solo XP for Puma.
Also, Order finding most of their success through a very active jungle support duo. So that's exactly the way that you want to see a game set up if you are an Order fan. Corporal being active, and the first step of being active is either winning lane or allowing Puma safety in his time alone. So far, so good. Kevy getting that kill like we mentioned as well, Skimmy, brings him back into the game, into a pretty even state against Lisa. Still behind in experience because he's missing in a lot of camps. As you can tell, just with a quick check-in on the experience, Lisa is still 6-5, but in general, both teams doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, Bone Skewer being lined up, looking for it. The dash across, not going to get the flash to follow. And there is not going to be any stun onto 2. And Ignite goes out, limiting his regen abilities. There is the dive as Puma's forced to flash away. Turn around with some of the heal as well, as they really want this kill, Rusty. Moonlight Vigilance there. He's got the red and white. He needs a little bit more range. Is Ignite enough? It is. And that's another 2v2 going away of Order.
So aggressive from the side of Order, and you have to ask, what is the biggest reason that they're able to play this aggressively? And it is because Corporal is able to leave lane. They get level 6 for Puma. That is the level lead for the AD of Order. And that ultimate is literally the difference there between having lethal or not. So really hard forced, but with good reason from the side of Order. And another 2v2 skirmish going their way, this time with a lot of Summoners burn, and resulting in a lot of map control.
And you just really love to see it, right? As you rightfully point out, the fact that he had level 6, those small little margins, those timing windows actually being utilized, as opposed to being left by the wayside. Order going to now look to try and further their lead by going for this first Herald of the game as Bio plays zone defense and blocks out Tien.
He
but
started saying
great
zone
stuff.
defense. We've got him.
I love it.
We've got
I love
him.
it. Such a great word, isn't it?
3-2 zone D.
I started with goalkeeper, but we've gone full NFL.
Mate, it's NBA.
No.
Are you talking about NFL zone D? No, we're not the same. We're not the same.
Oh, the paranoia, the first one of the game. Will it land? Well, it certainly has, because that's a Super Mega Death Rocket. And there is a very dead Aphelios.
Expecting the juke there on the hook was Corporal. Doesn't hit. Fear does, though. Kisei might take this now. Charm's gone. Still feel like if Daki... Oh, he might.
Chasing it, though, isn't he? He's got the ultimate. Not willing to risk it, though. Oh, the ultimate actually went out. Off-screen minimap. He's still chasing him up to mid-tier 2. He needs to.
Oh, he
He's all in.
missed.
Oh, no!
How did that miss?
Oh, things you hate to see. Add that to the top of the list.
Hey, listen, we said he'd do it. Even if it was off screen, he did it. That's what matters. Kisei flash gone, just dies 1v1. I don't know if we call it a solo kill or a solo death. It's definitely more a solo death.
Hang on a minute though, Corporal, he's definitely got the death from below and you are dead. Correct.
And,
Great answer back.
I mean, no summoner spells for the Jinx. No Tahm Kench to save with the ultimate there as well. Corporal is actually going to be quite a menace now that he is 2-0 and 2 with that early lethality. Kevy nearby, Herald to summon.
Kevy wants this though, that is the question. Lisa shadowing, acting as that 2v2 for the meantime. That obviously unlocks Kevy to go where he pleases. Like so far, very impressive.
We also have a tank Nocturne. This is very much like a Hecarim build. Alright, the straight up into a Barmy Cinder has the tier, so it could be a Manamune. But the Frostfire Gauntlet Rush is not... I'm not familiar with a lot of current Nocturne builds. This feels very off-center from what I would expect in my head, right? I've seen Stridebreaker Nocturnes. I feel like that's your standard.
Yeah.
You could go non-standard, which is still like a lethality build. This is a build that I'm very unfamiliar with, and that's why I call it like a Hecarim type build, almost. Like your tanky Chemtech on an AD champion type of playstyle. Still works, right? Like, got his early kill. Is going to be very tanky as he goes into the backline.
Pick up a Fimble Winter, right? And then suddenly you've just got a lot of mitigation.
Yeah. Or a
And,
Muramana still, right? To have some damage there. We'll have to see, though.
Get that with the tabbies, then it's going to be very hard for Order to really put out that damage as it sort of raises the develop point, really for both teams only having sole AP. Second dragon of the game. Now Kevy is here. But Lisa is on vision. He's scouting out the possibility of whether or not they are really going for this one.
It does seem like it is just going to be a disengage from the side of Order. They're going to go back to the waves that we're crashing. This is where Peace have a moment to move themselves, while Order are busy dealing with those creeps. Appy, I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes mid to do the same thing, so mid laners will get here at relatively the same time. Order, Puma not coming over. That's not a commit from Order. If you put your AD in there, I think you can maybe commit to that one, but it's very scary with a Nocturne who's always in ult range.
Both teams just seem like they're testing one another. What's going to be committed? What moves is going to be made? Both showing a lot of discipline, a lot of restraint, not overcommitting, not at this early stage anyway.
We keep going to top for like 1 second. Yep, TN
They're
is
existing,
still
back
pushing.
here.
Farming is fine. Biopanther's very close to a frozen heart. From the looks of it, it's going to be his first item, and that could be really valuable rush into a double AD topside, especially with Nocturne being a tank. Like, that guy is doing 0 damage to Biopanther now. Dude, I'm so sad we didn't see a replay of what happened. Oh, Lisa's baited.
Go for this one. Oh, good spell shield. And I think he's just in so much trouble right now. Does he have the damage? That's the question for Lisa. He's so very tanky, but he can't take down this elusive Pike, which, honestly, Corporal's probably laughing if he got away with that.
Any other Nocturne build probably kills Pike there, but listen, it's for a purpose, and we'll have to see how it plays out, and I don't think that purpose is assassinating a Pike. Nevertheless, Puma will have to use the heal to make sure that his support stays alive. That was a nice bait. That's one of those things that, like, with our God vision seeing both teams, you're looking at what is Corporal doing, but it's very obvious that AD was there for a reason. Herald Charge gets punished.
That next move is found. Will they be punished for this one? Beats in the area, Vision goes down, saying hello to his old teammate. Do you ever wonder if there is any sort of love lost between these two off camera as well? I think who has found themselves in a better position in that bot lane.
It's always going to be a battle whenever they go up against each other. The X's as they go head to head. I'm actually looking to see what Corporal builds first. We've seen 2 pikes in the LCO. This is the second one. The first one was Dragku, who went Glacial Augment, I believe.
Yep.
I like the idea of Glacial Augment for hooking at like a double carry lane or something of the likes, right? Where like they're stuck on the Shroud, so they'll be doing less damage to your carry. I think Hail of Blades, obviously if you're doing more damage yourself, if it's like a single carry lane. I like that in theory. So far, pretty solid from Corporal. I'm wondering if it, like Duskblade is the obvious choice, right? If you wanted to. Ooh.
Here we go, hold that for 2 seconds. Instantly Lisa leaps into action. It's the paranoia. It gets a little angsty himself. This is instant disengage away. So much so that they're quite happy. Biped actually committed a TP for that one. It's 15 minutes in, so quite free to do so.
Yeah. Kevi also just going to catch the top wave, right? So they're not losing minions. Small detail, Skimmy, but that was actually pretty sick from Biopanther. Usually when a Nocturne ultimates, one advantage that you gain is that you lose vision of the map, right? He turns the lights off, so you can't teleport very, very successfully at all, right? Biopanther gets in there so quickly that by the time Lisa arrives onto Puma, he runs away. It's just already a Malphite. There's one of the things that we have always enjoyed about Biopanther. He's always been one of the players that teleports first, right? He's one of the fastest teleporters. And the fact that they've gotten through the first 14 minutes in a pretty even game state always bodes well for Order. But still, Peace very strong.
Been very adept at backing up his team and forcing numbers advantages whenever they so deem fit. Good sidestep there from Corporal, who looked like he could have been in a bit of trouble with the likes of Beats and Lisa hot on his heels, but it's not to be enough to punish him. And it's been a very, I would say, a strategic game. 6 kills in 16 minutes. Not the most explosive in that, right, but certainly a lot of posturing as to what could be happening.
Yeah, that is a Fimble with the Nocturne.
Certainly won't be able to kill as easily, but he might not be in the same vein killed himself. Here's an angle. Shadow Surge still connects despite the flash. 2-man fear. And they find a kill from that one as a result, though. Tien coming with a TP into the river. Peace with the high ground to collapse upon, but Order splitting apart left and right. Now Kevi left to his lonesome, but he can look to dash away. Yes, he doesn't have a wall to hop onto because he's still got the Herald in his hands, but Tien's now been left on his own. It's a bit of a bait. Out comes the second charge of his paranoia. And a collateral damage that really doesn't do too much. Kevi disengaging away and still intact for the meantime.
Really heavily clumped together here as the side of Peace as they look to disengage. They're going to dissuade Corporal from trying to let any kind of follow-up plays happen, and they are just going to get themselves the reset. They're going to reset the bottom wave also before he looks to potentially stay on the map or just go to Krugs if he wants, because he has just teleported in pretty fresh. And this was a fight that takes place before the Dragon's even worth considering, right? There was like a minute, and they were really just fighting for control of the river. Nothing actually comes from that. It's really just a summoner spell check. So what matters the most is the fight that happens next. That's what we have to look at, right? Flash, teleport gone on Appy. Flash, teleport gone on Tien. And that's the biggest transaction that Peace have made. So Order keeping stock of that, where on Order's side it is mid-jungle that use their respective flashes. So these are the 4 members on the map right now that are the easiest to pick off if a fight were to start off with a pick.
There's just so much vision around this bottom half of the map. Top side does not exist. It's starting to be replaced here by Peace, who have clearly said this Dragon, we don't want it anymore. He's going to play this top side and protect Aki, who's going to be going on a bit of a journey himself. Obviously taking down 1 turret before, now working his way towards a second, but Order going to answer back with swift retribution. They're going to claim themselves their second Dragon of the game. Herald is going to get another charge off. They are certainly playing to opposite ends.
by Panther with the mismatch that he probably doesn't want. I don't think he's too worried in a 1v1. It'll take a fair amount of time to still take his health bar down, but Appy will be pretty comfortable with that one. Order going to be playing to the other side of the map here, however, around their Vex. Exactly where they want to be. This is what secures them the Drake in contrast, right? We spoke about the teleports being missing from Peace. Very hard to play the map without both teleports there. The question is from here, Skimmy, how do we actually continue to play the map? Because there's no more Heralds to consider. It is just going to be Baron in a minute. And that was only the second Drake.
Wasn't in the second Drake. Oh, dangerous safeguard there. Scorp was going to cop a beating, but he's still going to be fine with it. Yeah, I think it's a valid point, right, as to where these teams look to try and bridge the gap or find themselves that big explosive lead. There's no doubt about it. Tien's going to be quite hungry to split push again. We've yet to see the Hull Breaker come out of him. He's gone straight towards the damage avenue, as he's done before, into this team in particular.
Puma, if he tries to defend this, is going to be at very high risk until the team actually gets into the reinforcements arrive. I believe either Vision spotted BioPanther or they just realized that the Malphite was en route and they were absolutely terrified of that flank. So Peace will not commit themselves to the turret, they will choose to disengage. And we do just effectively have a couple of resets happen for each team. Teleport was used by BioPanther actually, I think that might have been what they saw.
Speaking of BioPanther, mythic items are overrated. He's working his way towards either Sunfire or the Frostfire himself now, but rushing a Frozen Heart could potentially go into the Fimbulwinter himself now that's fully stacked up and ready to go. But may have just had enough money only for the Barmy Cinder on that last reset, so see what gets completed next. We've obviously seen the jokes of old in this split where we get CC for 24 years. There's a lot of attention around the mid lane. I wonder if Kevin would have gone for that with everything to go. Doesn't have Flash, but the Charm would have cancelled out that regardless.
So we have to look at how these teams can play for Baron, right? Given that it is the one prime objective still available besides the outer turrets that every team obviously is going to be looking for. I feel like, you know, Red-White Kraken Slayer can still smash a Baron very fast, but it's pretty slow in general on the side of Order. It's not something that you're just going to be able to sneak, right, is the main point. For Peace, you've obviously got Tian and Cheon that can do it as well, so they'll be a little bit faster, but actually, you know what, because Nocturne is a pure tank, there is a chance that Peace would just be able to do the Baron outright if they have enough control. That's maybe the one advantage for just looking at Baron proper that they would consider, but in general, Peace's comp is much more reliant on looking for like a Nocturne ultimate with an Ahri, trying to find a pick before the objective becomes worth considering.
Sure. Definitely some scary potential, right, with like the Vex and a Malphite appearing out of nowhere. Lee Sin can be thrown into that discussion as well.
Damn the chicken.
Very adept at finding those picks. Here goes Appy. Does he fall for it? Shadow Surge instantly goes up. There's the fear, the Everfrost, and a lot of CC that, yeah, you can hit the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough.
He had a Banshee's Veil there as well, so I'm actually wondering where it was, or did he just buy it after he died? Because if he had the money for a Banshees, that could have been something to stop the Vex ultimate from hitting.
Sure.
And then suddenly it's a potential different skirmish with a chance to ult or flash away. But just CC locked down, very well played by the side of Order. They were extremely patient. And that's the real takeaway from the map state right now. If it's just Baron, neither team in the main point wasn't really going to go hard on trying to force a Baron by any means. Picks are the play. And Order are the ones that find the angle.
There's such a big emphasis on side lane control. Obviously, vision being important in that same regard too. But finding punishment in isolated members, as we just saw on towards Appy.
Can I ask you a question, Skibby?
Yeah, go for it.
In your opinion, what do you think this Nocturne build even does?
Well, all I'm thinking is it's more lockdown, right? In terms of the fear and the guaranteed damage to follow up, but
Oh, we're fighting.
I do wonder what this means. So we're going to get a bit of a demonstration right now as he does hit the Paranoia. Instant disengage away, the Jinx ult to connect, the collateral damage afterwards to follow, and Puma is very low. Abby's going to flash in to try and snipe him away, but it's not going to be enough. Kisei is actually going to be the casualty instead. They were hunting for a pick, and it looked like it was off until that very last moment.
Yeah, I mean, the Malphite ultimate was nice because it got the summoners out of Chaeyon, but the fight timing was really incorrect there by order, right? They don't have their ultimate for Kisei until now. I'm not sure if Kevy had his. So they play the pick, and then they kind of lose their cool, right? And the moment passes, and then Ari with the ultimate, with the flash still in hand after that death, is able to come through and clutch it out for Peace, which will give them the objective. So we're going to find ourselves at 2 Drakes apiece. Just the little details. This game really is coming down to the 1%ers, making most of the difference.
Certainly a huge parallel to the game we just saw, where it was all about taking skill checks and team fights and just showcasing what you could do individually. This is much more refined to understanding where to be at the right time and sort of, yeah, forcing plays to find picks to open up opportunities on the map, be it stealing away these buffs, be it stealing away some of these key objectives. And Soul Point is going to be a very, very distant fault.
I'm going to quickly bring this back, right? Because prior to that fight starting, I asked you what Tank Nocturne actually does. And I still think it's a Stride Breaker. I still think it's a Stride Breaker angle. However, the Frostfire does at least give a slow field on arrival. Stride Breaker just gives you the activatable.
Yeah.
One of them's guaranteed, I suppose. But even, like, my quarrel with it, we might have to hold that thought because Baron is actually being hit.
He is being hit right now, as Kevy is forced to disengage away from this one. Look at Tien's positioning on the map. He was ready to pounce, but it's just going to be so hard for him to sneak in.
I mean, Order didn't clear vision prior to hitting the Baron buff. They just walked in and did it in their face. And we'll bring Peace to the area, but in reality, it's just going to be a disengage. Kevy with no health needs to find a camp or a smite to actually stay on the map, or he could be in trouble if he doesn't get that reset off. So it's Peace's turn to move. It is just a continuation of the back and forth. That's a really nice ward inside the pit by Order. The way Peace are playing presently, I doubt they would actually get that unless they sweep through this red buff area and just find it on the disengage.
I'm just curious to see now what he's going to be building as this third item. For instance, is it going to be a Death Stance, or are we looking at, say...
Dude, I mean, at this point...
Frozen Heart?
Because the thing is, like... I have to keep holding my breath every time I go to talk. It's the slow field scales with armor or health, right? It's like the size of the actual field on Frostfire. I would imagine because you've committed to Fimbulwinter, you're just a tank. Like, I don't think you'd ever go Bruiser at this point.
Yeah, it does scale with the health, and they're going to be looking to try and take as much of that health as they can. They've absolutely just sniped out Puma. That's a double kill for Chen, a person that had no kills before that play. Snuck himself in a double kill, and that is the invitation that Baron this time is on.
Yeah, Peace just finding a really nice window this time for the objective. Order so far have only really been finding picks for the sake of the pick. And so it will just be a Baron buff. Very much secured here. No contest, no abilities that can even cover the area. Beat's just going to be a bodyguard for good measure. But almost to no point. They will just get themselves a very free Baron buff. 2 nice picks in mid lane. The question has to remain on how exactly those picks come about in mid. And it's Kevy and Puma hard forcing the wave in. And then they choose to stay for the turret. And that is where they start sinning. You push this wave in, you probably still just want to disengage. Vex isn't even close to in the area. They just get a little bit greedy. They had their sight set on maybe piece of reset. Maybe they're walking back the lane. We have a moment. Very untrue. They're sitting in the river waiting.
Yeah, as you saw, Vex up top side, Bio down bot. One little overextension. That's the elegance of what these comps are looking to achieve, right? Another spell shield. This time the Edge of Night instead. Looking to try and proc that one nice and early. In jumps Lee Sin. Looking to try and find that one. Kick him into the wall.
Jigsaw.
And take him down. Paranoia coming across. As they loved to try and combo that with a Super Mega Death Rocket. But as you saw, just wasn't enough. Good disengage. One pick. That's all it took.
And again, though, you have to consider what does that pick actually achieve for Order Skinny? Because in reality, it is just gold. The mid lane is still going to be pushed. Top wave has been pushed in as well. Order now have to disengage to catch waves that have been set up, and they're going to lose an entire turret as a transaction. What that provides them is money in their pockets and a bit of freedom to move around the map, just because there is no Graves threatening a side lane. When Peacemaker pick, it is immediately to the Drake, and then it is immediately to the Baron, and that is why they have a 4,000 gold lead. Okay, I'm going to say it, because there's no fight. the Nocturne playing full tank, why is it not just another champion? That's my opinion. Why is it not a tank champion that building tank feels good on? Like, I get that Nocturne can go straight into a backline, but why not another champion that can do that? Most tanks can. You know what I mean? But instead, we're playing a Bruiser champion kind of off design. That's how it feels almost. Like, it's doing fine, 103. But
So what you're saying is bring back Sejuani.
yeah, that's unironically what I am saying.
I do miss Sejuani. Regardless, though. He's going to be missing that dragon because Order have claimed it, but they're going to now go for the team fight, so you cannot disengage away. They've once again sniped out Puma. He's just not allowed to play the game, and once he's gone, the rest of Order go tumbling down. A double kill found here for Appy. Bio forced to ultimate away just to disengage. You just hate to see it. And he has been feared. He has been taken down as well. And Order just cannot find the kills, the picks. The way to survive this piece engage.
Yeah, actually, it's just going to be game. Turns out Tech Nocturne does damage. We're just going to push forward. It seems like the game could just end here. Stopwatch.
Yeah, Corporal's jumped in. Very lucky to be alive. No, it doesn't matter. Chen's excited, and I'm excited too because he just found so many kills in the blink of an eye. 29 minutes on the clock. It's an ace. And it is a chance for Peace to say, we just beat Order. We love the matchup. Stylistically, it's us. And we are now going to go 3-0 into this team. Chen going to cop a laser to the face. That's something to mind about it. Farm them under the fountain. And that is back-to-back on the ace counter. What a game. And what a performance for Peace to talk about.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a good win from the side of Peace. It's hard to fault the performance we saw from them. A lot of the picks that happened against them were traded for turrets, were traded for good vision control. And Order are the team who ultimately fell on their own sword, right? Peace catch the play really nicely, but every single time Peace make a move or make something happen, it's for a positive outcome afterwards. And they're thinking one step ahead, where Order feel like they were just stuck on making the immediate play and didn't really have a follow-up afterwards. Yeah. So always one step better is Peace, and that reflects in the standings.
I think that was the big difference, right, between both teams making those picks. That's sort of what it actually meant afterwards. And ultimately did see a lot of it just being a case of, it's time for us to try and do something, but what is that something, Mac? And ultimately they do fall down. So the Kryptonite curse continues. It's going to be very exciting if they do face up again in playoffs, however.
Yeah, that's it, right? Like, looking at these teams, it felt pretty close, you know, for this sort of early game. Got to that mid game, and it was like, oh, you know, Peace is sort of starting to pull away. You know, a couple of things were going right, a couple of things were going wrong for Order, but then, you know, it just got a little bit too far out of reach, and Order could not come back. Look, moments like this, I can see exactly why Kisei went for it, but even if he went back in to get the kill, it would have been a trade at best, right? So, I don't know. There was just some things going down. There was some great moments from Order, but there was also some terrible moments. So, look, Peace, they dealt with it nicely. I thought, you know, with Bio back on the Malphite up top, I was feeling it. I was like, oh, Order could take this dub. But, unfortunately, that was not the case. And Pyke also unsuccessful this time. I got excited when I saw it. There was a few lock-ins where I was like, okay, look, we got a Nocturne, we got a Malphite, we got a Pyke. We're getting some fresh faces again. I wouldn't say fresh, but, you know, faces you don't see super often. And it goes back to that conversation you were having earlier, right? Which was, are people just getting bored? Are they just picking champs because they're bored of the current meta? They want to try to change something up, keep it fresh. And maybe that's the case, but it didn't quite work out. Even Lisa, you guys were talking about that build all game. Like, it worked, but I can see why, you know, some other builds might have been more appropriate, but he played his role. You know, they were too squishy without too much HP on, like, him at the time, and that could have got scary. So, look, there's a conversation to be had for and against it all, but look how close it was up to, like, that 20-minute mark, Rusty.
It was a very close game up until, you know, the 20-25 minute team fight where it really just completely was blown out of control.
Yeah.
Peace still looking like the better team when it came to team play. I think what is positive though, Mac, is that Order on an individual level still seems super solid, right? A couple of 2v2s, bot lane, a couple of 1v1s as well if you're Corporal, why not? Put it on the resume, but just not able to keep up with the team play.
That's really what it comes down to, right? Now, look, that was a rough one for one of the teams, but it was also a good dub for the other team, going 3-0 for Peace. And I'm sure Kitty, who is now that one step further away from you two in the predictions, is very excited about that dub.
Well, thank you guys for giving me another free win because you guys should have gone with Peace. But let's bring in Lisa to talk about his Nocturne. So, Lisa, by winning that game against Order, you guys are still in contention for the first seed in playoffs. Walk us through the Nocturne build and why you decided to build the Frostfire Gauntlet.
During the Champions League, like my coach asked me to pick a few champs, and I said I want to play Nocturne here. Teammate was like asking me why, and I said I'm gonna show you guys the blue build Nocturne, and that's I copied from TikTok actually.
You know, TikTok is always a source where it's always a reliable source, as we would say. So you guys are going up against, I believe, Chiefs very soon. So do you guys have any preparation going up against these super teams just to secure, or maybe even, you know, get a few more wins to get that first seed in playoffs?
Yeah, like during this like meta changes, like I have some spicy jungle picks coming up for you guys. Today I play my Nocturne, and tomorrow I'm gonna show some other champs.
Okay, well, I'm sure everyone's really excited because Peace does decide to do some limit testing, as we say. I'm gonna let you go, Lisa, and congrats on the win once again, and have a good night.
Thank you, and also can I have one more MVP?
Matt, can Lisa have another MVP?
Nah. It's Chaeon. The Dare MVP is Chaeon, and I don't know if it's ready, but that's who the Dare MVP is. So, look, at least he's asked, but he set that one up nicely, didn't he? Chaeon, surely going to be happy about it, though. And look, Lisa, TikTok, man, come on. Like, and Kitty, I'm calling you out as well. TikTok is not a reliable source of information. There was not a $500 note in the back of my phone I had to break to check it.
TikTok is a reliable information. That's
No,
where
it is
you
not.
Get that's where you get the meta picks from, dude. He saw
true.
the blue build of Nocturne. If Lisa didn't scroll onto that TikTok, then he might have lost today. So, God bless that Lisa actually scrolled onto that TikTok and learned a new build.
You know where Chiefs have to prep tomorrow for their game against Peace? TikTok.
They're all just on their phones, just
Scroll,
searching social
Scroll
media.
till you find a league build.
Check all the hashtags, all the
no.
good ones. You know, Nocturne blue build. Where is it? What? Let's go down this route and see what his other champs are. And next thing you know, we're going to see a couple of bloody Ivern bands coming through in this day and age. Now, look, we have some questions from you guys at home, so let's bring on up some from the fans questions, and finally, you can pick our brains. Arikill has asked, do you guys face towards or away from the shower head when showering? Correct answers only. Correct answer is both.
Yeah, how do you face one direction?
Like, I don't know.
Do you not just like turn around and like do
definitely
a couple
swivel.
handstands and like you get everything?
Handstands.
sit
under
on
the
the
shower,
ground, you know,
everything.
Max chilling, you know, a couple of poses, just film a bloody, you know, couple of Twitter stories as well
Have a
while you're
bubble
chilling.
tea.
Man, just why not? I don't know. Kitty, is there a correct answer, or is it just, you know, all of it?
Well, let me describe how I would do this. So I would go into the shower having my head face the shower head, and I get the back of my head wet, and then I put in the shampoo, and then I wash it out from the back once again, and the front, like my fringe, I will turn around and just get rid of that. But I never try to face towards the shower head because I don't want hot water in my face because my skin's very sensitive.
Yes, hot water is also terrible. That's why you should always cold shower. Now, moving on to the next question. Let's see what's going on. Also, shout-outs to Winter coming up very soon. Means that cold showers are back on hard mode, and it's not just easy mode. Now, Cinderella has asked, when applying shampoo, do you foam up in your hands first or apply it straight onto your hair? Well,
Wow, I need you guys to answer this first.
I foam this up in my hands first.
What? That's a
personally.
thing?
Yeah. Well, actually, to be honest, it depends.
also, Cinderella's the audio guy, if anyone
Yeah,
wanted to know.
yeah.
Yep.
But also, it depends on the consistency of the product you have, because like some really suck in your hands. Other times, you know, it's best just to put it straight into your hair. I don't know. It really depends on product, but majority of the time, kind of like face foam cleanser. Like I'll always froth it off in my hands and then put it on.
Yeah, well, you know, the stuff that I use isn't even like, it doesn't foam. It's just like a skin thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's.
It,
I
like,
can't
definitely depends
answer
on
this
product.
because it doesn't foam up, Cindy. I'm sorry to let you down, but I'll let you down easy with that one. Now, Rusty, Were you just like, you just squirt on and go?
Just learned a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I mean, I put it
Well,
in my
Matt, I
hands,
actually
but
have a
like
fun
foaming
fact about
up
this.
is
So,
odd.
from what I heard, the more your shampoo foams up, the more it lifts the dirt and oil off your scalp. So when you go and shampoo your hair, you're trying to aim for that foamy texture so you get all that dirt off. So
Based, Kitty.
yeah.
Based.
But do you need to foam it in your hands? That's the question.
no, you don't. So you just
Not based, Kitty. Not based, Kitty.
Based.
Not based
Again,
anymore.
like socks or shoes first, I don't think it actually matters as long as you wash your hair or put your shoes on. Now, you guys probably love people that can see into the future, so you probably like, Stephen Strange. Doctor Strange. There is a premiere coming out very soon for the next Doctor Strange movie, and thanks to Circles.life, you guys in chat, if you type !Strange in the chat, you go into the running to win some tickets and go to some private screenings of that. As a bit of a nice little premiere. You can catch up with the community, with all the players and the people and the other people that win these tickets. You haven't seen them in ages. You can go see them. You might not have even met them. And you can meet them too. And watch Stephen Strange do his thing, save the world from... I'm not going to spoil it.
Now that you know his first name, you like this a lot.
He's
First
he's
name
named-
basis?
I recently just watched all of the Marvel movies from like the first to the last. So I'm back up with it. It's just his real name, escaped me for a moment. But I also know some stuff about the trailer because my missus is a comic book nerd and she's like, oh, that's this guy. But I don't want to spoil it for anyone, So it's all right. You guys go win that, watch it. And if you don't want to watch it, send me the tickets again. Now, that's it for game number 3. We've got a fourth and final game to get to before we close out the day. And, of course, that's Mammoth and Gravitas to close things out just after the break.
Yeah, with the health, and they're going to be looking to try and take as much of that health as they can. They've absolutely just sniped out Puma. He's going to be missing that dragon because Order have claimed it, but they're going to now go for the team fight, so you cannot disengage away. They've once again sniped out Puma. He's just not allowed to play the game, and once he's gone, the rest of Order go tumbling down. A double kill found here for Appy. Bio pulls the ultimate away just to disengage. You just hate to see it.